to Channel 6 Nightly News. Tonight's current special is on cyberbullying and its effects. As most people know, technology provides numerous benefits to young people. However, it also has a dark side, as it can be used for harm not only by some adults, but by the young people themselves. Cyberbullying is bullying which uses technology as a means of victimizing others. It is in the use of internet service or mobile technologies such as email, chat room discussion groups, instant messaging, web pages or SMS, with the intention of harming another person. Some examples include communication that seek to intimidate, control, manipulate, put down or humiliate the recipient. Technology allows a cyberbully to pretend to be someone that they aren't. For instance, pretending to be a friend to gain trust and sensitive information from the victim, or pretending to be the victim to defame and embarrass them. It can allow the bully to publish hurtful and humiliating rumours and photos or post information on the internet about the victim.
Just like the schoolyard bullying, cyberbullying can have terrible effects on the victim. These can result in depression, shame, embarrassment, and even result in suicide, as bullying now no longer stays in the school playground but comes home with children. Homes that may have once felt like a safe haven can now become nightmares to children due to the advances of technology in this modern era.
Cyberbullying is a very common trend among young people, with research showing that 20% of all children over the age of 11 have been a victim to cyberbullying. The majority do not tell anyone about it. An online survey conducted by the Department of Education, Science and Training found that 39% have been intensely insulted online, 57% experienced online denigration, and 41% had had someone masquerade as them online, while 42% had been cyberbullied by a student at their school. We hope you all had a good night, and I shall see you again tomorrow.
The main objectives that we hope to convey across to the students after the completion of the following activities include: to understand what cyberbullying is and how it affects all parties involved, to understand and discuss the key aspects, positive and negative elements in the decision-making process which underlies student behaviour when using internet and mobile technologies, and students will explore, discuss and understand the implications of the choices made when interacting with technology.
To start off the lesson, we would play the clip that we just showed as a behind the news segment, where the students will be required to take notes throughout the show on cyberbullying. Activities include brainstorming. Students will be required to make up their own definitions of what cyberbullying is, the consequences of cyberbullying, including the effects on the victim, and what they can do if it happened to them. Role play. Introduce the role play concept to the class of cyberbullying. Break students into role play groups of 4 to 5. Each group should have 2 actors who will act out the scenario they choose, 1 director who will help to construct the acting and move the role play towards some resolution. The director will also introduce the role play to the class and help find the questions which might arise afterwards. 1 or 2 note takers who will be recording the group's responses to the key questions for each role play. If it is decided to ask students to develop a script for the role play, the note takers will ultimately be responsible for the script, but will work cooperatively with the group developing it.
Campaigns. Students will make posts explaining what cyberbullying is, what the victim can do to stop it, and who the victim can go to talk to about being bullied. Students will then place these posts around the school advertising to their fellow students on the issue. Students will then present their campaigns in small groups on school assembly. Special guests. We will have a police officer come in and talk to the students about how cyberbullying is a criminal offence and what students should do if they are being bullied. We will also have a victim of cyberbullying talk to the students about how they felt while they're being bullied and what they did to stop it. We will also have an ex-cyberbully come in and talk to students about why they bullied and how they stopped it.
Children will usually only cyberbully someone that is different to them, as in someone that they don't see who fits into their views of the centre. This could be due to the victim's race, class, gender, or even just because they might have red fuzzy hair. In order to teach children that being different isn't a bad thing, it's just different, we have to come up with 2 different lessons for children to understand difference and dominance. These are getting to know one another and having a multicultural day. Getting to know one another. Pair students of complete opposites in pairs, for example, Indian and Australian. Have these students discuss what they like and find commonality. For example, they both might like netball. Lastly, have the students talk about their different cultures. For example, what holidays they celebrate and how they celebrate them. Multicultural day. Have each student select a different country other than Australia. Have the students make up presentations to share with the class. Students can have a personal reflection on what they have learnt about that culture. Make foods that come from different cultures for students to try, and have the students dress up in traditional clothes that are worn by the culture they choose.
What happened? This would be the last lesson that we would teach the children in order to see what they have learned. We would firstly introduce the students to the question, what are all the reasons and ways kids communicate with mobile phones? In order to do this, they would all have to brainstorm ideas up on the whiteboard. Then we will distribute activity sheets where 2 children are in a cyberbullying situation that were once 2 best friends, then they became enemies. Students will then write their answers to the questions that are provided. For instance, what would you do in this situation? We will look for responses that show empathy of distress, embarrassment and anger, just like the victim would have felt. Also check for understanding if the students who received the message, what would they do? Would they be confused, amused or outraged? And if they would have chosen to delete, save or even forward the message on to other kids or to an adult in authority. Then we would invite students to share their ideas and stories. For instance, ask, have you ever witnessed a similar situation of friends bullying using the internet or mobile phones? Get them to tell the story or even write it down if they don't feel like saying it out loud, but don't get them to use real names. Then get the students to look at a few websites on abbreviations that would be used in today's modern world that will reduce cyberbullying for the misunderstanding that may occur online due to misinterpretation of the abbreviations used in today's